Hello and welcome to a very disappointing Flyers post game here on Broad Street Hockey. I am your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me is my co host, Jacob Russell. Russ, so many thoughts about that game were erased by the Konecny goal and then right back into my head now. Now I'm just the worst way to end a hockey
Yeah,
game.
yeah. No, I was ready to get on here and talk about this is how the prototypical talk it game. You shut down McDavid and Draisaitl. You keep them down to a minimum offensively, and you steal it at the end. It's like soccer almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way they almost did it there. But then now all we're gonna talk about for half an hour is Owen Tippett's right foot, and that's not as fun.
Yeah, the offside review. Konechny gets the tip on the Sanheim shot. Looks like they go up with 25 seconds left. League initiated review, so it wasn't a coach's challenge. And yeah, Tippett's skate is
He's
inches
offside.
offside.
He's
It's offside,
offside.
and he's offside. It's the right call. It's the unfortunate call. It shouldn't be. Whatever. That's a topic for another day. But first of all, thanks to FanDuel for sponsoring us there. I know if their Flyers were underdogs tonight, and rightfully so. The Oilers were the much better team, but I thought they could have got it there. So yeah, thanks to us. It's FanDuel. Make sure you subscribe to BroadStreetHockey.com, BroadStreetHockey YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff there. Because yeah, we can come on rant and rave about offsides and Owen Tippett's skate and Cam York falling down and all of this stuff, but that's a game where we should look back on and it sucks to say, but be happy to get a point out of that. It was a horrible effort. Like you said, grind it out, got a power play goal. Was it a power play goal?
Yeah, Michkov on the power play, top of the circle,
Mm-hmm.
rips it glove side on Skinner, beats him, and that came at the end just after a stretch where the Flyers went nearly 20 minutes without a shot on goal.
Mm-hmm.
Their first shot in the second didn't come until 11:16 when Emil Andre put one on net. And that period of the game, you really expected the Oilers to just sort of put it away at a certain point, right? With McDavid, with the guys there. Evan Bouchard gets a massive goal there on the one-timer, right, set up by McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
And then you expect them to kind of take off as they're just pouring it on. The Flyers held strong, to give them credit, but yeah, after those two posts that they hit early on in the first, it was basically an offensive desert till the third period where they kind of picked it up a bit, made it a bit more even. At least they had some chances, got the Konecny goal that wasn't, obviously, but yeah, it was a great start that was almost immediately followed by almost half the game where they really didn't look like they had any chance of even generating a shot on net.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you remember a month and a half ago now, we did a post game for a preseason Capitals game, and you likened the third period
Yeah,
of that game to a Capitals practice. And that's almost what it looked like for, late first period, first half of the second period was just the Oilers doing what they wanted, Flyers dumping and chasing and dumping and changing, not even dumping and chasing, just dumping and changing, not even regrouping or anything, just
no,
completely chasing the game. They do finally get the power play. They get the power play goal, and that's like you said. That's what hockey is. It's very low event hockey, 5-on-5. Oilers had 6 shot attempts in the third period. 3 of them were scoring chances. But yeah, it's just low event hockey. Good goaltending. Dan Vladar, fantastic to get
he
run
was great
twice
tonight.
and stay in the game. If that's Sam Emerson, I don't know if they get a point tonight. If
I
that's
think it's over in the second period
yeah, if that's
because I
Fedotov or
don't think they're scoring
Kolosov,
again.
forget about it. No,
Yeah.
no, and it's the McDavid show. It's the get right game for the Oilers. But credit to Dan Vladar, who hates the Oilers from his days in Calgary, and
Yeah.
he was giving it to Janmark there.
Yeah, no, that he was amazing the entire night. He did everything right, everything you wanted to see from him. And when we say if it was Urson in net, it's not a slight to Sam. It's more so
No.
just saying Dan Vladar looks like one of the top 10 goalies in the NHL right now. Especially you look at the Rangers and the Lightning with Shesterkin and Vasilevsky both not having the best night out there, right? Early, especially. You look around the league and based off of play, Dan Vladar has been fantastic. And if you put a replacement level goalie, which is what the Flyers usually tend to have, in net for this game, you probably don't get that save even late against McDavid when he's busting him down the wing, right? That one timer that he flashed across to save, I think Roslovic passed it over, and he read it perfectly. He just knew that he wasn't going to shoot, and that's the sort of, he just seems switched on, and he's playing at the peak of his powers. It's better than he's ever played at any point in the NHL, and I think he's basically won the starting job until he really falls off a cliff.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like we're playing with kid gloves too much with Sam Ersson because like he's had his chances to prove himself as a 900 goalie. His save percentage this year is 864, 303 goals against average. Coming into tonight, Vladar was 917, saved 30 of 32, brings him up to 919. Like he is
That's
the reason.
fantastic numbers.
He's 6-3-1 now. He's the reason the Flyers, if they make the playoffs, if they're in the race at all, he's a reason we're not completely ripping this team for a horrible blowout tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean, I did like some things that I saw defensively. I think they limited the high danger chances to a certain extent better than I've seen them do it. But it's not fun to watch. It's not interesting hockey. And if they don't switch on there after that lull in the second, if they don't find their skating legs, especially due to the power play, right? Like that one Owen Tippett move through the middle draws the hooking penalty. Yep. And that came out of basically nowhere. It was basically a 1-on-4 with the rest of the Flyers going on the bench. Tippett tries to break through the middle, gets hooked, and then that is what spurs on the offense. If that doesn't happen, if, Tippett just gets to backhand that into the zone, he could end up 3-4-0, right? Like it wasn't a great offensive performance, but at the same time, it's not like the Oilers got a ton of fantastic shots either. It's not a game that you really want to watch. That's the issue.
5-on-5 expected goals were 2.2 to 1.2 for the Oilers here on Natural Stat Trick. But yeah, high danger chances, 8-7 for the Oilers. Scoring chances, 21 each. Like Oilers heavily outshot them 27-14, but it was very much to the outside. They did get some in front, but they limited those high danger chances, and that's what Rick Tocchet wants to do. That's what he's been talking about. And like, it was weird tonight because there wasn't any one line that I really even liked at all. Like there wasn't one that was making horrible mistakes. It was just like everyone that was out there, whoever was out on the ice was getting caved in and hemmed into their own zone.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking when I was watching as well. Like you expect, like if the fourth line gets caught out against McDavid, or maybe like just the Draisaitl's playing. I think he was playing with McDavid the whole game, but he was playing with McDavid. So like that line comes up. He wasn't.
I don't think so. Just in the third period.
Oh, in the third period,
McDavid was with Mangiapane and Savoy, and then it was Draisaitl.
Yeah, so in the third, they loaded it up. Yes.
Yeah.
But like you expect whatever line one of those two are on, like maybe they'll hem in the third, fourth line for a shift or two, even the best Flyers lines. Let's be honest. But it was really just a steady onslaught of not even Oilers' chances, but the lack of the Flyers being able to even like get through the neutral zone. It was basically red line and in, like you said, for a big stretch of this game. And it's hard because outside of that, you like to compete, and you obviously, besides the sour ending, you like how it ends up going, right? You want to get at least a point off the Oilers, and it helps. It's the third game that went to overtime, the last four. So you're accumulating points, but at the same time, it's not something that you think you want to emulate in the future and expect yourself to really get those Vladar performances or get a great performance out of Ersson that'll keep you in the game, because you were facing a lot. You were doing a lot of defending. Let's say that.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of defending, which you will be forced to take penalties. You don't get offensive chances yourself. It wears your team out. You got to roll all four lines, all three defense pairs. Your goalie doesn't get really any time to, catch his breath and breathe there. So yeah, that second period, the first half of it at the very least, was just all Oilers. That's really when they got most of their chances, 13 scoring chances in that one, 21 for the game for the Oilers. So the second period was just domination from the Oilers. And if you control the second period, that's what the Panthers were great at last year, especially in the playoffs. Like you control that long change, you get this team gasping for air, and you take advantage. And luckily the Oilers didn't. They weren't able to score until overtime. Vladar, decent defensive effort also from Noah Juleson. I was You know,
He was
talking
good.
about I was talking
He was
bad
pretty
about
good.
Emil Andre after last game on the Brushwacky podcast, but like that pair was one of the best pairs today for the Flyers, and you know it might not had the hardest matchups, but they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, and I think just the defense as a whole, like I'm reaching a point where I'm not worried about putting Jamie Drysdale out there against anybody. Like he just looks solid. He looks very composed. He's starting to really turn into what I think his final form can be as an NHLer. Sealer was, he took the penalty, but he threw that hit on McDavid, knocked him down, and I think that was really a good stamp there that kind of gave the team just a little bit of life when they needed it. So everyone on defense, obviously, Sanheim and York don't really need to talk about them. They've both been fantastic. York with another assist tonight on the Michkov goal. So I think it's one of those games where you look at the defense, you look at Vladar, and you say, you did your job. It's the offense just not being able to get out of first gear for large stretches of the game. You can't go 15 minutes without a shot in an NHL game. That's just not, you can't do that. That's not possible. It shouldn't be a thing that happens regularly. But, when you end a game, when you end the second period and you're through 40 minutes and you're down in shots 25-11, what are you going to do? Really? Do you expect to win that game? Like, I don't think Rick Tocchet present him those numbers in a vacuum that he's going to say, yeah, I think we're tied up. We got a chance here in the third against McDavid and Draisaitl. That's the sort of things that you just can't rely on. But you can't, ignore the effort of the defensemen and Vladar, who are fantastic for large stretches of the game and had to be because they were under fire for a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much mentioned it there, but like the forwards were the main issue tonight, just not connecting on passes, not being able to get out of the zone. And it's interesting because Tyson Forster was back. We got that line back together with Cates and Brink. Maybe he shouldn't have came back yet, or like he wasn't ready to go up to speed against McDavid. And then you have two new lines with Tippett, Dvorak, and Konecny, and then Zegras on the wing with Michkov and Couturier. I think I would have liked to see, keep that Dvorak, Tippett, or Dvorak, Michkov, Zegras together. Keep Dvorak and Zegras together. I really like that duo there. Couturier was great tonight, but like against the Oilers, when they're trying to get going here, it's not time to, I don't really think, experiment with lines, and he eventually, mixed them up there a bit in the third period, but hopefully this is just one they can throw out and bounce back from, like we saw last weekend after they lost to the Flames, and then came out in Montreal and had a great showing there. And so back to back this weekend, Vladar will definitely get one of those games. So, but yeah, it's because in the small picture, it's like shit. We should have won that game. You should have got the 2 points there. The goal waved off. But in the big picture, it's a point against the Oilers in a game where you probably shouldn't have gotten a point. So like this is what helps you in the playoff push.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not necessarily about winning or losing this one. The boring way to look at it, the efficient way to look at it is like I wrote it not too long ago on BSH, just about how the overtime play is going to affect the playoff push. Like if Tocchet, if the brass want to make the playoffs, it's going to be through, grinding it out. When you're not playing your best, you get to overtime, get a point. Maybe you steal one in the shootout because you got Michkov, Zegras, Konecny / whoever you put out there, right? And you can maybe get a couple extra points that way. You look at the Islanders 2 years ago, they go to overtime like fucking every night. And then you end up in the playoffs. You don't do anything, obviously. And that's where you'll ultimately run into the stumbling block if the Flyers are going to continue to play like this, is you got to score. But it is a way to accumulate points and keep yourself close, and prevent going on these long droughts that the Flyers have had year over year, where they have these 8-game skids and it just feels like you go into a tailspin you can't get out of.
Yeah, like we're 16 games in now, 19 points, goal differential still positive +3. Like, and there hasn't been one game where you just felt like, man, this was a real shit show, a real blowout. Like maybe that Jets game, they were never really in it, but like besides that, like
I
every
looked this
game
up.
has been
I
okay.
looked this up recently. The Flyers, the most goals in a game that an opponent and the Flyers have gotten, nobody has scored more than 5 goals. And I think they've all been at minimum 3-goal games. like at maximum 3-goal games. Sorry.
Mhm.
So they're not, and a lot of these are empty nets. You know, I didn't
Yeah.
check all of that necessarily, right? But a lot of them you can imagine are you're trying to push at the end, you get an extra one scored on you. At that point, it doesn't matter. But they're going to play a lot of tight games. That's a certainty with the roster, with how they played in the past at their best, and with Tocchet's system, right? Like they're going to play in a lot of tight games. So I mean, it's not ideal, but it is going to look like this a lot of nights, unfortunately. I mean, you obviously don't want to go, a third of the game without getting a shot on goal or a shot in general, it seemed like. But it's gonna follow that sort of trend with who's on the ice, and if the forwards can't get going, like I think it's time we can probably switch over and just talk about Tippett a little bit, because
I just want to say one more thing that pissed me off about this game.
yeah.
You lose to the Oilers in overtime, and McDavid and Draisaitl aren't
Yeah,
on the
are on the
ice.
bench. Yeah,
That's
they're on the
embarrassing.
bench.
You got
Yeah.
them on the bench, and you get Roslovic and Savoy out there, and it's just embarrassing. But
Yeah, it was a
continue.
pretty ugly turnover there too in OT. Not the
Mhm.
greatest Cam York play there. Kind of got crossed up, but yeah, don't usually like to see yourself on your stomach while there's a 2-on-0 going in the other way as a defenseman. But yeah, like going to Tippett, like I think it's one of those things that kind of summarizes the team's offensive effort, because Tippett comes out of the gates, right? He hits the post early, rings it off the bar, and he looks like, oh, you're thinking like, oh, we got a Nolan Tippett game here. Like he's roaring to go, he's ready to go, and then it just kind of goes away and it's not there. He has, the pass at the end of the game. It was really beginning and end, because he has the pass at the end of the game that goes to the point to Sanheim, and then ultimately that it leads to the Konecny goal, no goal. But it's just one of those games where Tippett's just, he obviously gets it called back because he was the one who was offside, and it's a lazy, stupid play where he's not moving at all. He doesn't need to jump over the blue line. He is not at all in the play. And it's one of those things that it's just like you feel like you're maximizing the effort, but you're not getting the results that you could get out of this game, right? Like you're getting the most you can get out of the effort that you gave, which was pretty porous offensively, but you're not, you could have win that game so easily.
Yeah, that's such that's a winnable game. Like you convert on one of those chances, you stay on side, whatever. Do you want to guess how many total shot attempts Owen Tippett ended with in the game after hitting that post? How many in total?
The rest of the way after hitting the post.
Oh no, just including the post. One. That was his only shot attempt.
Yeah. No, that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. And like
it felt like he was there, and then I was like, oh wow, maybe Tippett's gonna be flying around tonight. Against McDavid, you're gonna play at a high pace. No, he didn't do anything. Again.
Because I think it's also Tippett was playing on the right side with Zegras and Dvorak. Now he's on the left side. I don't know how much that matters in Tocchet's system, but also with Konecny, Konecny likes to have the puck. Like it's just weird how they switched up the lines. And yeah, I guarantee Tippett's going to come out firing next game. He only had a one shot attempt in that Flames game as well, and then 6 shots and 11 attempts in Montreal. So he'll come out firing on Friday night there. But tonight you just get pucks on net. It's Stu Skinner. It's Stu Skinner.
What I was
like he's been pulled. Like it's not like a goalie you have to have an amazing play against. It's Stuart Skinner.
Like it reminds me, I'm reminded of like 2010s, like in earlier Flyers, right, where you had Marty Brodeur, you go up against Brodeur or Fleury, Lundqvist, right? Like, oh, you got to really pass it around to beat it's Stuart Skinner. He could let it in. He could just let the puck in the net. That's what he does sometimes. And, sometimes he's a great goalie. Sometimes he's really good. You didn't get a chance to really test him, though, because he spent how much of this game doing nothing? Probably half an hour of this game doing nothing.
Yeah.
He probably had a couple shots from, outside the outer hash marks and stuff. I remember a couple of those where they were shooting for basically rebounds with nobody back door.
Mm-hmm.
That's not high pressure for him. Meanwhile, you look at Vladar, he's basically under fire. He's playing the puck. He's getting run over all the time. He's getting people up in his grill, right? Like there's
if only the Flyers had an enforcer in the lineup to stop that from happening. If only there was an enforcer in the lineup.
Well, that it is basically, and I know you've touched on this today through other channels, yes. but yeah, like if Nick Deslauriers is out there and Hathaway are out there, like what else are you guys doing? Like, is it just staged fights? Is this like WWE basically? Is that what it is now? Because like I'm not expecting Deslauriers to immediately go out there, but you know he had a bunch of hits.
Yeah, they were talking about, oh, he had 7 hits in 5 minutes. Okay, he's trying to get him going. He was going after whoever after the whistle there in the second period. Sure, gets the crowd going a little bit, but like, yeah, luckily there were no injuries. Luckily Forster was fine. He didn't have to play, too shorthanded. But I do want to see if you have any other notes from the game that you want to touch on. You were taking throughout, but just one thing I've noticed there today. I think Brink and Michkov were on the ice in the offensive zone at one point, and I just want Michkov and Brink like work together, like do Brink's workouts, follow what he does on the forecheck. Like imagine Brink's motor, and like he just gets between the guy and the puck on the boards. He's like, all right, you're not, if I'm not getting that puck, you're not getting that puck either. And you don't want Michkov exerting all of his energy to take away from goal scoring, but it's just like a little bit more there. And he's doing great. It looks like he's first 3-goal game streak of his career. Like he's been fantastic, but like I would love to see that out of him.
And it's the problem with Michkov. It's kind of a double-edged sword to me because like the reason why Brink, Cates, and Forster are so successful has a lot to do with their forecheck, like a 3-man forecheck that they are really, really good at. They put a lot of pressure on teams. Noah Cates is really smart. Tyson Forster is really smart. Bobby Brink has grown to be really smart and know what to do when playing with those two. Michkov he's a volume shooter. Tippett's a volume shooter. Konecny's a volume shooter. They don't get volume. None of these guys get volume. Zegras, you could even say, is a volume shooter. They're guys who need chances, and if you give them 4, they'll probably score 1. If you give them 4 decent chances, they'll probably put 1 in the net. When you're getting 21 shots against Stu Skinner, and a bunch of them are from the point and deflections or out wide, you're not getting to the good spots in the ice. You're not getting odd man rushes because you're not really selling out for the odd man rushes either, right? You're playing a really rigid defensive system or one that purports to be. But like, I don't really understand how you're really going to get the most out of these guys, all of them. Maybe you get the most out of Michkov. Maybe you get the most out of Zegras. You might leave Tippett behind because you can't feed all these mouths with the amount of shots that you're getting right now.
I think if you go back to the Zegras, Dvorak, Tippett, and then Konecny, Couturier, and Michkov, I think those are probably the 3 best lines you can do. And then Gulbenkian with Abels and Hathaway. I know Maddie had an article on that up today that was breaking down their game on Saturday, and then of course Gulbenkian gets scratched today. But like, I think that's what it is. And Tockett's talked about it. J-Mac wrote it up for the site. Like Tippett's been in and out of the game. And he was asked like, okay, is it because he's moving around lines? And he said he's been playing with Dvorak and Zegras, which he's now moved away from him. But yeah, because it does feel like in the long run, one of these players will have to go. And Tippett's the easy choice for people. But like right now, I feel like they can make it work. It's just a matter of like, I think, give it 20, 25 games total to get the systems down, stay healthy, get the lines going. Like that's what we saw last year. It took until Thanksgiving to get that Cates line together. Then they really started moving. So if we can get Michkov scoring and like get three solid lines, I feel like there's something to do.
I think they could have a world where they have 3 second lines ish, right? Where there's 3 lines of guys who you don't want to play against. And maybe some nights Forster, Brink, Cates plays like a first line just because they just play so well together for whatever reason. Like they're a fantastic grouping. And yeah, like that's what you're going to have to do. It's going to be by committee, obviously. And I guess we can just talk about the OT winner briefly. 2-0, not great. In overtime, 3-on-3. York kind of capitulates at the blue line. I don't really know what was going on there. I thought Coots actually had it when he cut to the middle earlier on there. Looked like it almost squeaked under the arm of Skinner, but once that goal was ruled out, you kind of knew the writing was on the wall. I was kind of praying for a shootout, which I hate to do. I really don't want to do all that.
You have to against McDavid and Drysdale in overtime, but yeah,
then they just go in the shootout.
Yeah, but then you have Zegras, who's pretty much automatic. And you can go.
They have a good shootout lineup actually now.
Yeah,
which is funny.
Yeah, I'm just watching the NHL Edge goal visualizer on overtime. Yeah, Zegras and Michkov are ready to go up ice.
Yeah.
York can't get it to him. He falls down. It's just over there. Second straight overtime where like York falls down here. Zegras with the bad non-change in the
Yeah.
one against Ottawa.
Yeah, just
Like,
loses them on the back check.
yeah, yeah. So, and I'm looking back at that first goal because I didn't. Okay, it was a breakout pass to 22, whoever that is. He gets it to McDavid. He gets it on net, and then just a yeah. It's just a mishmash on that first goal. McDavid making things happen, and
That was just a
Bouchard,
bomb from
yeah,
Bouchard, and he's tough
Bouchard.
to circle. That's never getting stopped. He has one of the hardest one-timers in the league at this point. That's just like you gotta know that McDavid, when he comes out from when he goes low to high, he's looking for Bouchard at the point.
Yeah.
That's what that's maybe the only thing he can do consistently is hammer that puck from that specific spot on the ice. You let him get to the top of the circle. Vladar's got no chance, even if there wasn't a screen.
Yeah, he was the last guy. Yeah, he was the last guy in the zone. It wasn't like anyone like missed their man. It was just they were all in deep, trying to get the puck in front, and it squeaks through. And yeah, it's Bouchard doing the one thing he can do is score goals because he's not great defensively there. But yeah, it's overall, talking through this, it's a decent game. You get a point. It's a tough loss. It sucks. It sucks to celebrate a goal like that and then have it called back. That's my main thing. That's what I hate. Is like I try to celebrate a goal. I'm like, okay, let me make sure there's no interference. There's no offside.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's the problem with how you have to do review if you want to get everything right and you want to try and eliminate missed calls, which newsflash, they have not done at all whatsoever. And the penalties are still completely in the hands of the referees who frequently do not know what is going on. Yes. But besides that, if you really want to get like the offsides correct and everything, you're going to have games where an OT winner happens and then gets called off. And at that point, you got to start looking at, and obviously this isn't for this time, I could probably write 3,000 words on it and get all philosophical, but you're really you're teasing people with something that they really want to pull it away. And it's not like it's a fun thing to like watch the situation room camera like pan in on the room, and they take like 15 seconds to actually show you the view that is the one that would call it off, not 15 different angles from the top where they're looking at the wrong guy or they're looking at the board cam and his feet aren't even in because he's close to the wall, so his feet aren't even in the shot. And it's like, okay, well, thanks for that, I appreciate it. But yeah, and it's annoying. It's really annoying. But again, it's hard to really be too upset about getting a point when you spent a third of the game not shooting at the other goalie.
Yeah, you didn't deserve a point. They did not deserve a point. They definitely didn't. They didn't deserve two. It would have been stealing 2 points. But yeah, they got one. I just want every game to have someone watching it, and if a play is offsides, it has to be called like 15 or 30 seconds after it was offsides. And like we've both worked in like video rooms like that where like you can pay someone $20 an hour to do that. Like the NHL can afford that. Like get some people above to be like, all right, that was offside, call it back every time, not just when a goal scored. If there's an offside entry and you can see it within 15, 20 seconds, blow the horn, blow whatever, and call it back. Because like you never know, could be a penalty after that. You don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, we could talk about officiating for days here.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that it just sucks, right? It just sucks. It's all you can say about it is it sucks because you feel like you stole one against McDavid. Is just such a nice thing to go. After the long layoff too since Saturday.
Yeah,
you come back, you take one against McDavid late. Konecny gets on the board, right? And he's always so fired up when he scores late. And that's the adrenaline dump. It's like, how is he supposed to keep playing now? That's one of the things that kind of upsets me too. But again, end of the day, you stole a point when you didn't really deserve one offensively. I mean, the defense did, Dan Vladar did, but you got to play a full ice game to win.
Yeah, it would have been a great ending there with Konecny after having this stirring the pot all game and doing what he does. But of course, it's called back, and yeah, the Flyers end up getting a point. So can't really blame them for just running the 20 seconds off the clock there. Afterwards, I'm going to try to keep this. We're at the 30-minute mark now. I'm going to try to wrap this up now.
You told me not to ramble, so I banged it right on. I didn't even speak past 30 minutes until now.
Any final thoughts or any notes that you took down? I thought you have some like these little plays you saw and wanted to point out that get overlooked or anything. Nothing
I
like
mean,
that.
not particularly. It's just a lot of defensive stuff, right? It was all defending. I thought there would be more going on. We didn't talk about, the power play late, 5 minutes left in the period after Frederick ran Vladar. Drysdale even there hits the post or hits the crossbar, hits iron, whatever it is. And then Cates has that really nice strong move in front, kind of looked like a little JVR type play. And then he has even the rebound stopped by Skinner, and Skinner gave them the 4 or 5 saves and high danger chances that they really needed, and that was the difference, right? And that 5 minutes left, I really thought that they would that they would actually get one late on that power play. It felt like it was trending that way. But late in the game as well, I did want to point out McDavid 1-on-1, I think against Dvorak, and Vladar with a huge save. That was a really, really nice snapshot from McDavid late, and Vladar came up big, and that saved a point all on its own, really, right? Like, and there's a lot of times McDavid puts that shelf and the game's basically over. So hat off to Vladar. Definitely, I'd say, easily the first star of the game for the Flyers. I mean, he has been everything and more than anyone could have asked for. He's having the best stretch of his NHL career.
Yeah, easily. Probably Vladar, Michkov, Konecny, three best Flyers players, and Konecny getting his point streak going there to 8 games. So yeah, and it's weird to say like you thought the Flyers power play was going to score late because they're up to 19.6% now. That's 15th in the league. That is the top half. So
hey, listen,
special penalty kill has been fantastic as well. Good special teams, good goaltending. Let's get the 5-on-5 play there as they learn Tocchet systems, and we'll hopefully have some wins to talk about.
Yeah, I think there's a very good chance that we will.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to plug here? Your socials or anything? Follow the Broad Street Hockey Instagram.
Go on the Broad Street Hockey Instagram. It's pretty funny. I don't really do anything too serious over there. Me and Gilbs are usually over there, doing some fun stuff. We're
shit posting it up.
Yeah, I'm shit posting. I'm really just shit posting, and I'm just putting random clips over Billy Idol songs and putting them on the internet.
It's what the people want.
That's what people want.
You got to give the people what they want there. So follow Broad Street Hockey on Instagram. Once again, thanks to FanDuel for sponsoring, and subscribe to Broad Street Hockey wherever you get your podcast and YouTube. All right. Until next time. Thanks for watching.